everyone. At the end of my last video, I've promised that I would make an update of the build as soon as I've put like 100 or 200 divines into it. I am now at probably more like 250 to 300 divines, but I guess better late than never, so here I am for the update. As usual, I will first go over the gear a little and maybe also some skill tree changes. Then I'll showcase just a normal tier 16 map with essences in them and a tier 17 map so that you can get a feeling for what the build looks like in this content. And afterwards I will also show a little crafting guide for specifically how to make the wand and the amulet. So, without further ado, what did I upgrade? My very first upgrade was actually getting the new Fallborn Barracks Respite Ring with both the Explode mods on it. I can quickly show what we had before. Before we had these two rings on with the different Explode mods on them. Now we have the ring that has both in one. This allows us to put on the Lost Unity ring, which gives us the level 30 Herald of the Hive skill and makes us lean into the Herald stacking a little bit more. So after this change, I've also switched to Herald of Purity, Ash, Thunder, and the Herald of the Hive. And what the Lost Unity ring does, or what the Herald of the Hive skill does, is it gives us, as you see at the very bottom, 3% more damage per Herald skill affecting you. So right now we are at 4 Heralds. That means that is 12% more damage. But we've also invested into buff effect for heralds, as you can see right here with this node, for example, and also with the ascendancy node for Bringer of Ruin for herald buffs on us. Right now, I believe we are at like 86% increased effect. This means we are probably at like 5% more damage per herald, which means 20% more damage in total. It would make sense to get the increased herald buff effect tattoos. I think we would need like 3 or 4 of them to get to 100% to hit a new breakpoint for even more damage. I don't have them right now, but they would go onto your int nodes. After this change, we just got more damage from it, and also the Herald of the Hive creates these pulses around us. These can hit enemies, and after you hit the enemies, the pulsing gets faster, and these pulses can get used to apply the Corrupting Fever effect on enemies. So on top of the Bladefall of Trathers, we also have this pulsing to apply the Corrupting Fever, which makes us just apply it faster and basically which makes the damage feel better in maps on top, and that is on top of the like 20% more damage we get from the Herald skill itself. The next update I had on my plate was the wand. For the wand, I started with a fractured Profane wand base. We want Profane wand for the cast speed, and rolled the skill gems on there for +2 to level of skill gems. Before we just had +1. And then just to finish the craft off kind of easy, we craft cast speed and minion steal increased damage. We want that mod because of the spiritual aid node we have, which makes minion increases and reductions to minion damage also affect us. In the end, again, as I said, I will show a video on how to craft this wand. The base itself is, if you buy it, it's like 50-60 divines. If you try to make it yourself, you can take or get profane ones. You can use Harvest Reforge Phys with yellow juice to try to hit tier 1 Phys damage over time. That'll take, I think, around 2 to 3 divines of Essence of Life juice to hit. And then the Fracturing Orbs, I believe, are 2.5 divines right now. So that makes it 5.5 divines per try to fracture this mod. On average, it's a 1 in 4. So that would make it like 22 divines on average to get this wand. Of course, you can always get unlucky, but that's how you would get the base. And again, later on, I'll show how to proceed from there. Afterwards, I've crafted a focused amulet. With this one, it's fairly easy. We go for +2 life to be able to afford Corrupting Fever. Right now we have it at a very high level, so it actually costs 4,120 life in order to press this button. And of course we need enough life for this, and because of that we need this huge amount of flat life on the amulet. On top of that, we want +2 to level of skill gems, and we go for increased effect of non-damaging ailments so that our shock gets higher effect for more increased damage taken on enemies, which is basically a more modifier, and this is just a lot of damage for us. After this, I have upgraded the shield. The shield is also pretty straightforward. We want 400 or like at least 400 energy shield on there. If it's 390, no problem, but like let's say around 400 energy shield, and we want the increased chance to block on here. This is basically just so that we can hit block cap, because without we wouldn't be at our block cap, and especially not at spell block. So yeah, we need that. And after you get a shield with increased chance to block and energy shield, we want the Shaper mod on there for recover energy shield when you block, and this is just for sustain. And then it's perfect if we have an open suffix on there to craft some stats, because we are always strength and dex starved on the build. Then afterwards I have upgraded the gloves. This fractured mod that we have on the gloves is the reason why we also go for a profane wand with cast speed. Of course, cast speed is nice for Reap, but we really want the cast speed actually for Frostblink of Wintry Blast to you basically drop shield charge and to blink around maps instead of shield charging. Feels a little smoother, is a little faster, so this is why we go for the fracture on the gloves. And after you get the fracture, we just want to roll dense fossils on there to get some energy shield, and then again have some stats on there at the end. I got pretty lucky on these, so at first I was kind of like mad about the tier 1 life, but right now without this tier 1 life I wouldn't be able to afford the Corrupting Fever, so having life on there is pretty good and enables you to run a 5-link Corrupting Fever, but I'll get to that in a second. The belt remained unchanged. This is just life and res, and there's an eye drill in there with just life and res. And lastly, the boots, I needed to upgrade those to get more res on there, but this is just basically energy shield and res, and then some crafted movement speed. Then, lastly, we have one option for the chest, or we have two different options for the chest. At first, I planned to upgrade to a chest like this. What this chest does for us is it gets us a lot of energy shield, and also with the +1 to level of socketed strength gems, we still get some gem levels. Before, we had a Skin of the Lords, which gave us +2 to level of socketed gems. Since we had an Empower and the Corrupting Fever in there, this is like a +4 to level of Corrupting Fever. So this chest is a slight downgrade. This just gives +2 in total to the Corrupting Fever, but we get a bunch of energy shield on there, and we also get this mod for Flask to gain charges every second, or every few seconds. This mod enables us to basically have permanent uptime on the Ruby Flask or the Coruscating Elixir. So if you do a lot of bossing or phased content, then this chest might be the way to go for you. But again, the chest is a damage loss. One good thing though about having lower gem levels than I do right now is that you don't need as much life on gear. So with a chest like this, you can have a 5-link Corrupting Fever without needing this life mod on the gloves right here. Or if you have enough life on your gear, you can maybe drop 1 or 2 life nodes on the tree. To get some more flexibility, to get some more damage. But what I opted for is a Dialos Malefaction with +2 to level of socketed duration gems. What this does is right now, so it also gives gems socketed in red sockets have +2 to level. That means that the bottom mod alone with an Empower in a red socket, I can see where we have it, it's right here. The Empower gets +2 level, the Corrupting Fever gets +2 level, so this is +4, just like the Skin of the Lords, but with the implicit, it gets another +2 level, so with that we are at a level 34 Corrupting Fever, and only because of this high level we have this high life cost. And usually what you can do is, if you do not have this much life on your gear, for example, if you don't have the life on the gloves, you can basically just take out the efficacy support for different one. I forgot the name. I think it's Controlled Destruction support. because then you have the damage just for your reap, which means you have more single target damage, but your Corrupting Fever doesn't do as much damage. Just a tip if you don't have as much life on your gear. Right now I went for maximum Corrupting Fever damage, because that means I can play this build as an Autobomber as long as possible without ever having to click reap. Of course on bosses, like especially in T17 maps, I still click it. Yeah, so that means the one downside, of course, of this chest is it doesn't have the gain flask mod. So to sustain Coruscating Elixir basically almost indefinitely, what you would need to do is you can only run 3 flasks with the Traitor Keystone. But since I mostly do mapping, this flask is up all the time, so I just run the movement speed flask in here for some more quality of life. As a further upgrade, of course, it is always possible to replace this belt with a Mage Blood. Mage Blood is much better. What Mage Blood does is allows you to go for increased effect on the flasks, which is just more max res, and of course more movement speed for a movement speed flask. So Mage Blood always possible, and basically the best in slot for this build. It really fixes your res, because right now I'm still trying to be res capped without flasks, so that I'm overcapped with flasks. Would also need to press this so that I'm overcapped with flasks, and with Mage Blood that's just a lot easier. So in total, what's the cost of this? So the wand, if you completely make it yourself and you have average luck on the fracture, this is in total I would say around 30 to 40 divine. The ring is 60 divine. The amulet crafted is also 60 divine, so that is 160 at that point. The chest piece should be around 20 divine, so that makes it 180. The titanium spirit shield right here is, if you buy it done, 40 divine. I've lost count. I think that's like wait, that was, what did I say? Like 30, 60, so we were at 100, 120, 180, another 40 makes it 220. And then the gloves, again, if you hit your average with a fracture, that's like, in total, let's say 15 divines to craft the gloves. That would put the total value of the upgrades at like 235 divines. But again, if you would buy the wand instead of crafting it yourself, I think buying it is like 60 to 70 divines. We can check that out maybe just right now. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we want cast speed as well. The base is important. Maybe even more expensive. So maybe like if you buy it ready made, let's say that's 80 divines. That's 50 more, so that would be 285 divines. And just keep in mind, whenever you fracture stuff, you can also always get unlucky. So, for example, these gloves made me very, very upset, because it took me 23 tries to get the correct fracture on them, which was in total, I think, like around 60 divines these gloves cost me. And I was able to buy, or I would have been able to buy better gloves on the market for 15. So, yeah. I was a little frustrated, but things like this happen, so always keep that in mind. Sometimes, like if you're just buying it, you're on the safe side, but on average, it would always be cheaper to craft the stuff yourself. Same goes for the shield. You would usually, how to craft this is you would alteration spam shields until you hit one of the 3 prefixes, and then you just like hit all these shields with the prefixes. Then you craft a suffix on them if they don't have one already, and you try to match the suffix. So for example, if you alteration spam a shield with chance to block and one with increased energy shield, you can craft int on both, and then you can use the combinators to put them together and hope to get a shield with both increased chance to block and increased energy shield. And you would do the same, then you would try to get another shield with max energy shield and then one of the other 2 mods. Then you have two modded shields and try to smash them together to get a 3 modded shield. This took me, I think I have burned in total around 80 of these shields, and I did not get a 3 mod shield. So in the end, I just bought this one because I couldn't be asked to recombinate anymore. So just to keep it in mind, you can make these shields yourself, but you can always try to, or you can always be a little lazy and just buy them. Let me think. I think other skill tree changes. So one we made was we went into these herald nodes after changing to the Herald of the Hive skill. And we also switched this wheel around, so instead of going this way, we had to go this way for the increased mana reservation efficiency, just to be able to fit all of the herald. But you don't need any mana reservation on your gear, and you also don't need any, what's it called? Don't need any enlighten in your setups. We are so skill gem starved that this wouldn't work anyways. One more thing is, since we are so socket starved, we don't have the curse on hit vulnerability anymore. We went for a self-cast vulnerability because during maps, Corrupting Fever is way more than good enough. We don't really need the curse on hit there, and on bosses we can self-cast it. And with this we got a free skill gem. Then lastly, if you run this setup like I do, with the without the flasks gaining additional charges, you could think about dropping curse gaining elixir, because we have over 75% chaos res and we have over 4,000 life. Of course, in the beginning of the map our life goes down to 0 once, but afterwards it just doesn't anymore. So afterwards we have like a chaos, like a life pool that would protect us from chaos of around 4,000 life. And the problem is, if we run curse gaining elixir, we sometimes have a total life pool against things like chaos of 8,000, but whenever this flask kicks in, it goes down to 4,500. So kind of like, you know, just as a tip, you could run a normal ruby flask here if you don't like the curse gaining elixir mechanic. I don't really know what's better currently, so I just keep running the flask. But yeah, this is just a general possibility. Then, with that, let's try to jump into the first map. Usually the strats you can run with this is, I have run the Cloistering Scarab, because since this build is an Autobomber, you can really, like, it's great if you pick up gear, like, because you pick up a lot of stacked decks with that strat, and you can just stand still, click stuff. Oh, I forgot to bring Chaos Orb to corrupt these. Anyways, so we'll just do some of them without the Chaos Orbs on them. Sorry about that. Yeah, as you can see, usually what you do is you just stand next to them. Essence, as you can see, also works as a strat, so not just things like stacked decks. Yeah, you just go for a Val Reap and then a normal Reap. And if you don't have a Val Reap up, you can press Vulnerability and Reap. So your damage is good enough for content like this. Nothing to worry about. And then now let's just go straight for the boss. And you can see things around us just explode. So here we are at the boss without a Val Reap, so this is just normal rebuff. And yeah, tier 16 maps, everything just falls over. You can run whatever content you like in tier 16 maps, and you will basically just be auto-bombing the entire time. Then, yeah, there's not really anything special on here. Let's just go for a tier 17 map. Tier 17 maps are, again, not my favorites, because I never really like the layouts on here. It doesn't feel as nice to Frostblink in here. So if you run these kinds of maps, a mage pad is even better, because you just have more movement speed. Which would mean, yeah, going through these maps faster, because as you can see, like, Frostblinking in here, I don't know, not my vibe. But yeah, so in here I haven't clicked Reap once yet. Or maybe we can try an Essence in here just to show. Essence in tier 17 doesn't make sense because they don't drop any more loot than in, I think, tier 8 maps. But yeah, just to show what it looks like. So then let's try to look for the boss to show the bossing damage. I will put a portal down because, again, this right here, what you're seeing, it's not the tankiest version of the build, but it's the one with the most damage. And yeah, as you can see, we got the boss in his first phase already. But ooh, this is getting close. I don't want to get hit anymore. Our life went down fast there. Alright. Could I? Okay, thank you. I phased him so long ago, or her, and she didn't do anything. Well, damage in this case, as you can see, damage could be better. It's not like a pure, like, I wouldn't use this to boss rush tier 17 maps, but I guess it's fine. Let's hit some reaps on here to get the boss done with. Hey, oh, that was a worthwhile map. That was good. It's like, I think 2 divines and fragments. All right, yeah, but in general, this is what the build looks like. From this point on, again, I think the last upgrade you would really need to do is getting a mage blood. And after getting a mage blood, the only other upgrades would be getting megalomaniacs in the build with primordial bond on there. These are like 25 to 30 div each. But as you saw, if you run like anything but tier 17 juiced content, it should be like completely fine the damage. Survivability wise, again, a different armor, where did I have it, would be better. So this one, again, you lose, I think, about, let's call it 25 to 30% damage. But with this chest, you would have, I think, 8,000 energy shield, which is just a lot. And if you have a chest like that, you really want to keep the coruscating elixir with this setup. You can decide yourself if you want to get it. Then just a last quick note before I go into how to craft the wand is if you want to get a chest like this, you can get it corrupted, and even if it's not a 6-link, just remember you can use tainted currency to 6-socket it, to 6-link it, and to get some quality on there, because even if it's not much energy shield, it's still something. Yeah, just remember you don't have to buy it 6-linked, and the currency, because the currency to get it 6-linked would cost like 60 to 80 chaos, and it's, I think, 2 or 3 divine cheaper than just buying it. All right, and then I think I'll have a cut in there because I've already recorded the crafting session and then re-recorded everything else because I've changed some gear around. So I will start here. After you get the fracture, you want to do the following. You want to get corroded, jagged, metallic, and shuddering fossils in, and they're not called incubator, they're called whatever, into this thing here, to roll +1 to level of all spell skill gems. This is the one you want to get, but you want to get it alone. So you want this item to have 2 open prefixes, and what you want to have 1 open suffix as well. So if you get the thing here, you go annul. This time we got lucky. We annulled the other mod off. This is perfect. This is the configuration we want. We want 2 open prefixes, 1 open suffix. If you take more annuls and you are left with empty suffixes, you can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. And then you want to craft cannot roll attack modifiers. This basically makes it so we can't roll anything like physical damage to attacks. And again, if you would have annulled this suffix here as well, then you would have crafted can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. That's a suffix as well. And then you do cannot roll attack modifiers as well. We do this because next up we want to do harvest, add, remove physical. And this is now a 1 in 3, so it removes a random mod from this item. Can of course hit all the 3 mods on here, and then it always adds the physical spell skill gem mod. So it's a 1 in 3 that we accidentally hit this mod, and 2 in 3 that we succeed. So this one would have been unlucky. This means basically you go back to spamming fossils. The fossils, like the ones I've shown, that's a 1 in 2. So on average, you need to click the fossil twice to get it back. And yeah, in this case, we would have needed to start from the beginning. But you can see here that oh wow, this is unlucky. Okay, we failed like 3 times before we get it. Usually, again, this is a 2 in 3 in our favor, so I can click this more often. Yeah, usually we would see it succeed more often than not. So yeah, the first 3 tries we got unlucky, and now yeah. And then sorry, I digress. Then at this point, if you have +1 to all spell skill gems and Phys spell skill gems on here, you then want to go can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. And then we do minion damage. Minion. Which one is it? Is it a prefix? Yes. Minions deal increased damage. We craft on here. We want this one. and then we craft cast speed. Increase cast speed. What? It's hard to click for me apparently. And then, oh, this, oopsie, that was not the benchcraft. This is the benchcraft. And then this would be your finished item basically. Last step would then be to give it quality and give it the increased area of effect per 4% quality. And that is your wand done. Yeah, again, the important or the expensive part is getting the fracture. Afterwards, it's rather simple. For the focused amulet, what you want to do is you first get the amulet, and the mods we want on there are that we need to craft our +2 or +1 to physical spell skill gems, and then the life mod. To get the life mod, we just do harvest reforge life until we hit tier 1 life. That can take a while, like really long, but in this case we got kind of lucky. We want to now, so this I think takes like, I think on average 40 rolls, 40 clicks of this to get it. And then we want to get the tier 1 life mod alone, so that means annulling. In this case, we sadly hit the tier 1 life. That would mean going back to harvest reforge life. But since we are here, we can try to annul it off in here. So first you need to win a 2 and 3 and then a 1 and 2. That makes it a 1 and 3 in total to get this thing alone. And then we go for, after we have life alone, we go for cannot roll attack modifiers again. And then we go also for the harvest, add remove physical. This is now a 1 in 2, so this guarantees that we get the +2 level of all physical spell skill gems, but it could remove the life, or it removes a crafted modifier. In this case, we got unlucky. Now we would need to go back to harvest reforge life. But if we don't get unlucky, we get to this stage and hit the other mod. Just to show again, this is really a 1 in 2, so we should see, and you can see it always adds the +2 to level of all physical skill gems. And yeah, then you're basically done. You just do the ailment craft on there, which is this one. And you just roll that until we get the 60%, and that is then the finished amulet. Then you just craft some the spiritual aid on there, give it quality, and that's the amulet done. All right, I think with that I went over everything, all the changes. POE will be down in the description again. This is my last video, at least for this build again. I don't know if I'll upload any more videos for the league. Maybe if I see a cool build and I want to try a budget variant again, then I'll do that. But I'm not sure yet, so I guess stay tuned. Otherwise, I'll probably do something again next league, or if there's an event or anything. Thank you for listening to my rambling again, and have a great day. Bye-bye.